I can run the same amount of boost that I was going to run, but safer. What's up, GT gang? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I'm Mojo GT, and today we are working on the ProCharged 426 Hemi again with Martha. Look how beautiful she is. Even when she's dirty, she's gorgeous. So this is kind of where we're at with the build right now. So I have the intercooler. I had everything mocked up, right? All the charge piping, made sure I had everything. And I'm pretty sure I do. If not, I might need a few things. But anyway, what we're doing today is installing the AEM water methanol injection kit. So that's what I have here. Basically, if you don't know what water methanol injection is and what it does for your car, it has a few bullets right here and what it does, and you can do a little bit more research if you want to on your own. So the main things that this does is reduce air intake temps. I'm going to be running a very large V8 when you're injecting a mixture of 50-50 water methanol into your charge pipe. That naturally will lower your intake air temps, which if you have lower intake air temps, you have lower exhaust gas temperatures, which is also just as important. And increased boost levels make more power. I don't think those are accurate, but they're very vague. So what it means by increasing boost levels, so you can raise your boost at a safer clip. So the best application for this, in my opinion, is mine, really. So I'll be running this 700 horsepower build on 93 pump gas, which it isn't out of the normal. A lot of people like to run pump gas just because of how readily available the gasoline is, and you don't have to hunt down gas stations to find E85 or even, you know, race gas. But that being said, when you're running a lower octane fuel, that increases your chances of pre-ignition, detonation, fuel knock, all of those things, which they're kind of the same thing. But anyway, when you're running lower octane compared to race gas, 93 is high octane when you go to a gas pump, but in all things considered, 93 isn't high octane fuel. So to balance that out, you're injecting this water methanol into your cylinders to basically reduce the risk of, when you're running into boost, like I will be, causing pre-ignition, detonation, fuel knock, things like that, which can in turn cause your computer to see that and retard your ignition timing. So when you're running these colder temps, they let you run more boost at a safer clip. So not necessarily run more boost. I mean, you can run more boost, but to me, I can run the same amount of boost that I was going to run, but safer. So you can't really complain with that, guys. That's my understanding of it. If you have any different understanding or even a definition, please leave it down for anybody else in the comments. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and show you guys where I'm at. So like I said, I have pretty much the car ready for the intercooler piping, things like that. I even have my coupling here on the throttle body. And what I need to do is pull the intake pipe off, which I did, and I'm going to install the injector. Let's go through the AEM kit and show you what's in it. So if you didn't watch my video where I actually unboxed this, let me show you what we have. We have our pump, we have our tank, we have our injector, a fuel sender wiring harness, hardware kit. We have loom and rubber hose for the boost for the controller, which is right here. And on top of that, we get like I think I read somewhere that this is 11 feet wiring harness. And here is your plastic tubing to run from the pump to the injector. So if you don't know how this system works, basically you fill up your tank and then run a hose from the bottom of your tank to your pump, and then your pump to your injector. That's pretty much it. That's really easy and pretty bare bones, guys. I really like the way they did that, and everything is going to run through your controller. So you're going to have wiring from your controller to your pump, and obviously for your level sender, you'll run it there. But your controller tells the pump how much to pump and when to pump and things like that. So you're not actually wiring in this injector, which is really, really nice. I'm going to put all this stuff back in the box and figure out how I'm going to mount the injector in the intake. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll quit talking as much and let's get it. I will put a link in the description. They don't give you any instructions in the box. They give you a little card right here and you tell you to scan this QR code. So if you guys want to check out the instructions, There you go, screenshot, download that QR code, or I'll put it in the description. So I had it mocked up, and I also made a little dot right there. That's where I'm gonna drill it. I'm putting it before the intake air temperature sensor so that my intake air temps are actually accurate. I wanted to put it down here, but it just doesn't make sense, unfortunately. So I think the best route is gonna be to put it right here. I'm gonna go ahead and drill this, tap it with an 1/8 inch NPT tap. So I have this chart here that says 1/8 inch NPT requires a 21/64 drill bit. So my 21/64 is all the way this big. So I don't necessarily want to attack that right now. I want to make my way up to that size. There we go. And now with my tap it. Pretty simple, guys. Yeah, it looked like I just need to put more pressure on it since it was plastic. I don't want to go too far. It's 1/8 inch NPT, so it's tapered. So here's how it looks, guys. It lines right up with my vacuum hose for my fuel pressure regulator. So that's awesome. I love that. So that being said, I'm going to remove the injector, bag it back up, and then we'll kind of button up the front end here. The only thing stopping me from putting the intercooler on and everything was the fact that I had to take this in and out, and I can't do that with this unbolted, which is pretty insane. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do that and get you guys in the next step. Bear with me, but I kind of have to read a phone here. So here's a chart that bases what size nozzle you need. So right here, this kit comes with a 500cc Pintle already pre-assembled. So I'm gonna be pushing 700 to 800 horsepower. So it looks like I need D for 5 to 10 psi at 700 horsepower is the 1000cc injector. So I go to here. Here is where it tells you what's what. Guys, this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. Basically, this is my 1000cc. It tells you exactly what it looks like, so I swapped it out. It's simple as pulling the retainer out, pushing through your injector hole, it pops everything out. You just swap the injector out, or the nozzle. It's really, really, really simple, guys. Actually, in fact, I'll show you. Okay, so you have your injector. Gonna that, and you're gonna push through the hole, and then your assembly starts to slide out. So okay, so it sits just like this. Spring sits in here, and then all you're doing is swapping out this piece. So I'm gonna put mine back in there. And then you push the retainer back in. It's literally as simple as that. So hope that helps. I'm gonna go ahead and thread this back in. I have the 1000cc installed. Gonna use a little bit of seal, thread sealant, and it'll be in for last time. 1/2 inch size wrench, by the way, for this. Got this mocked up, ran here, and there's actually down here, can't really see it, but yeah, there's a little hole down there. That's a straight down under the car. Right there, boom. Anyway, I have it ran to here. And I'm gonna run that back. I don't know if I'm gonna go through the back seat like I did on my fuel, or if I'm gonna go back where the exhaust is. I really want to avoid that. So it's probably gonna be where the fuel was, except it'll be on this side. We'll see where it goes though. I don't know. All right, guys, so I ran the line all the way up. I drilled a 23/64 hole in the bottom of the back seat and installed a grommet from a Harbor Freight grommet kit. So let me show you what it looks like from the inside. So here's what it looks like from the inside. I have to vacuum it out still, but what I did was, you can see I looped it a little bit so that it wasn't kinked. So it's not hanging any lower than what my fuel lines are over there, so I know it'll be fine. I'm gonna run it back through here, and I already put it up and extended it as far as it goes, and it goes all the way back to the trunk. So that being said, I'm gonna put the car back on the ground and see what the next step's gonna be. All right, guys, so before we get too carried away with this, Brandon and I already started, mocked up where we're gonna put the water meth injection tank. We're gonna put it right here. Drilled a couple holes, put some rib nuts. We have to put the last rib nut in, and then we'll be able to put it in once and for all. We just went to Ace Hardware, picked up some M8 bolts, and we're gonna mount the pump right here, so it'll run from the tank to the pump and then straight down. Be perfect. All right, this is mounted. We're only using 3 holes since there isn't anything back here. You have to have the tank lower than the injector, so we get my injector is sitting about like right here, so we should be good. I guess we'll find out. Right now what we're doing is installing the pump. So once the pump is installed, we're gonna be able to cut this to length, go from here to pump, and then pump to bottom of the tank. Be pretty simple. All right, pump is installed, nice and tight. M6 bolts, socket head of course. We have from the tank to the pump already ran, and then we ran the pump all the way up to the front. I'll show you guys what that looks like. We have it taped off right here, of course, and we have it ran all the way around the engine bay back underneath the car. So what we're gonna do now is run it through this insulation. It's the same stuff I got for this, literally the exact same stuff. I just reordered it online, and that'll do it for the meth kit as far as plumbing goes, and then we'll have to do some wiring. So I have a little bit of a dilemma with my water methanol kit. So it requires a boost reading for the controller in order to compensate with methanol injection depending on how much boost pressure you have. So I did add a plug at the bottom of my Holley intake, except I did that after or before I ordered my methanol kit. So, and then I installed my intake manifold and buttoned everything up, fuel, everything. So I already tried to remove a few vacuum lines that are push connect down there and remove the plug, and it was a huge pain in the butt. So what I decided to do was get on McMaster. I have an account with them, and they actually have a half-inch to half-inch T, and then that T is a 1/4-inch NPT thread. So I had in the shop here let me show you. I had a 1/4-inch NPT with a male 1/8-inch NPT. So I need to use this male NPT to barb fitting. So as you can see, I made my own fitting. Cut off the male NPT part, the threads, and actually drilled and tapped 1/8-inch NPT threads. So now I use that fitting to install this. I'll use some thread sealant, of course, and this is what we're left with. So it looks super nice, and as you can see, it doesn't even engage that much. So the threads on the inside of the bushing reducer will be able to be utilized as much as we need to. So that's going to be super awesome. It doesn't add any unnecessary length, and I don't have to buy fittings. So I was looking at fittings, and I was like, ah, man, I'm gonna have to spend like $15 on a single fitting. And then I saw this one. I'm like, time to do some custom shit. So anyway, that's ready to go. I'm gonna run my boost line from the cabin to the engine bay, and then we'll be able to figure out a spot where we can actually put that controller, run wires from the controller to the pump, level sensor, things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited about that one. That's really cool. I'm gonna run wiring for the controller. That hose that I ran through stops about here, so it looks like I'm gonna have to have it in this area for the controller. So we'll figure out maybe some double-sided tape. It's pretty strong, but we'll see what it does. Yeah, we'll just go from there. I'll run the cable all the way from where the controller might be, run it all the way back here, and land some connections probably. We'll see. Okay, so I have the AEM water methanol kit harness kind of spread out here, and I taped it up till this point, and then I broke it off. Everything that runs all the way back to the car, I taped up individually and separated it, and then I left these as individual wires. So that makes it a little bit easier when I'm running it, and on top of that I don't have to deal with a giant cable. Well, not giant, but larger cable. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and try to run this a little bit, see where I can get with it. It took me a minute to try to figure out exactly what went where, so we'll get it. I buttoned up the adapter, so I bought a 1/4-inch male, like I said on the previous video, or on one of these videos, the male 1/4-inch NPT threads with my custom union that I bought right here, or adapter, with my 1/8-inch NPT threaded nipple, with my boost line that goes from here into the engine or the compartment the cabin. I'm going to finish up the wires that I have ran back here. These are basically any wires that I'm going to need, just extended. So that being said, we'll go ahead and start right behind the seat, finish some heat shrinking, start to tape or zip tie things, just in case I have to replace the level sensor or the connector. I'm going to use spade terminals instead of just soldering them. So that's just in case, like, the pump goes bad, I have to change out the connector for whatever reason. Actually, I'll solder the wires for the connector for the level sensor, but just in case the pump ever goes bad, I want to be able to just swap it out pretty quick. I don't want to solder these joints. We have those connections terminated right there. Oh yeah, level sensor, motor, pump, same thing. And we have this slightly mocked up, just kind of ran in place. I had to extend the wire, that's why there's a solder joint there. But I did order some brown white cable or brown white wire so that I can extend the solenoid wire if I decide to run that. I think I'm going to. I think it's only like 80 bucks, but it protects you from ever accidentally siphoning or gravity feeding your injector. I put that LED in last time and I just have to solder them up. I don't think I'm going to solder them now that I think about it. I'll probably just put in some ring terminals, or not ring terminals, spade terminals, like I did for the pump back there. That way, if I ever have to pull this piece of trim out, it's not a pain in the butt, and I don't have to cut the wires if I really need to pull this out of the way for an extended period of time. All right, so I have it wired in. Pop this out really quick, show you what it looks like. I put 3 small zip ties on the harness side. That way they kind of stay together. All right, guys, we're going to run through the controller. I realized I didn't actually record where I ended up putting it. I put it in my center console, which meant I had to extend all of my wires that had to go to the back quite a bit. So know that you're either going to have to use butt connectors if that's what you do, or you're going to do what I did and is solder every single connection and make it professional and tidy. Anyway, we're going to start with the top left, work all the way to the left to the right on the connector for the controller. So the arm switch is just to switch 12 volts. I put that on my power distribution block. Boost safe, which is green, I didn't run. Gray, which is the negative for the LED, which is I put on the shifter bezel. Positive, which is violet for the LED. White wire goes to level sensor, as well as the brown wire. It runs off resistance, but the colors match up, so just do that accordingly. Pink is your pump positive, and orange is your pump negative. I use spade connectors. You guys could do anything. You could use a plug or some kind of connector. I did opt to run the solenoid. I figured that would be the best thing to do so I don't gravity feed or siphon into my intake pipe. So I actually had to buy extra brown white wire that was the correct gauge, solder it, extend it, terminate it with whatever wires were for the solenoid. So the brown white goes to the solenoid negative, and then the other wire, which it shows it's red, I think they're just both black. I'm not really positive at the moment. I apologize. But the other one goes to switch power. It's just a coil, so it doesn't matter. You can flip them now that I think about it. Goes to switch power, so when you cycle your key, it either opens path for your methanol to flow from your tank through your pump to your injector, or when your switch is off, your ignition switch that is, it closes that path. That way it can't do that gravity feeding. And then red from the controller goes to battery positive, and black goes to battery negative. And the boost hose, I actually had to get a longer vacuum hose to run it from my manifold, which is in line with my brake booster vacuum line. That's the manifold I showed you guys earlier in the firewall. Ran that all the way to the center console, and just like that. So that's pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the next thing. All right, so this is actually a description of every wire, what pin it's in, the wire gauge, the color of that wire, and the connection for it. So I'm not going to talk about it any more than I already have. You guys can pause it and read these accordingly. I will link down below the manual so that you guys don't have to screenshot anywhere in my video where I just placed the card up. So you guys can just reference that in my description below. So that's gonna be pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's pretty long and I really didn't go into as much detail as I really wanted to, but I hope you guys get the gist. It's a pretty universal application, so it doesn't have to be for a charger. I tried to make it not specific to a charger, so hopefully that helped you guys as much as it did, or as much as it possibly could. So I'm not gonna drag this video on any longer. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.